Sure.
All right, welcome to week two, I guess week two. I don't know if we zero index from the mentors first meeting. Yeah, so welcome to the week two meeting of TCL 76. And we'll be walking through this week's issues. So this week's we had Marcos and Allison. Y'all working on issue three, I believe. Yeah, so y'all want to walk us through your issue?
Yes. Yeah. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so our main priorities were um, making sure that the user could navigate from the home screen to their list and then manage list by incorporating NavLink. So this was the issue we were working on, and I'll walk you through kind of how we took it line by line. So our main priority was functionality. We wanted to make sure that we were able to get um, the user to navigate to each page appropriately. So making sure when they start on the home page, that looks correct. And then when they click list, it takes them to dash list. And then when they click manage list, taking them to dash manage list. So by incorporating NavLink. It was pretty simple. We just needed to make sure that we imported it from React Router DOM. Later, we noticed that this was a duplicate import. Since then, we've kind of cleaned this up a little bit to keep it on one line. But it was pretty simple, just making sure that we were importing it correctly and using it correctly. And that just kind of looks like making sure we were keeping it in the proper divs, making sure that it was navigating to the correct spot. So you'll see home here stayed just with dash, and then with list, move to dash list. And then for manage list, moving to manage list. And you'll see when you're on the home page, click home, you stay there, you click list, you navigate hello from the list page, manage list, etc. So that's kind of how we got started. We were able to get that sorted out pretty quickly. Huge thanks to the NavLink documentation. And then I'll pass it to Marcos. He has some words on the second priority that we had.
Okay, sure. Let me go ahead and share my screens real quick. Let me go here. Share. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I noticed when we first were looking at the documentation for NavLink that there was a lot of duplication in our code. We were basically passing all these parameters and all of this code here to each and every one of these nav links. So I kind of came up with the idea of actually putting it in a function where we call it handle active. We pass the parameters from nav link and we pass the code inside. And then it just makes it look a lot cleaner because we pass the function to each of the style properties. And so once we do that, we'll just have the same functionality. There's nothing really wrong. It just kind of cleans up the code, refactors it. Everything works the same. So yeah, we're just refactoring. And then that was pretty much it for the issue. Yeah, so it was pretty solid, pretty straightforward, and it was fun to work on.
Yeah, nice. I like this implementation of handle active. It's been a while since I've actually worked with React Router, but is it that is active and is pending? Are those part of are those properties that you get from React Router? How does that tie in?
Yeah, these properties were specifically from the documentation here in the nav link, and so if you can see right here, you'll see that the style they're under the style property, and so that's where kind of we got them from, and then we just passed those into the function. The function.
Yeah, nice.
And just to add, we did this to help with user accessibility. We wanted to make sure our users knew which page they were on just to add a little bit of style. We didn't want to go overboard right away, so you'll see
Yeah.
that whenever you're on a page, it's just bolded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that was the starting point.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's good enough at this stage with respect to styles. Like it is kind of obvious, like, okay, just from looking at it, I know which page I'm actually on, which is very helpful.
Yeah.
Now, I know this was a very small issue, but how was the whole pairing process for you all? How did it go?
It was really
It,
fun.
yeah,
Oh,
it
sorry, Marcus.
was. No, no, it's okay. Yeah, it went really well, really smooth. I think the important thing that we learned was that it's better to just get the ball rolling as soon as possible, instead of, waiting. So we had worked on this issue the next day, early morning. So it worked for both of us. And yeah, we just knocked it out. It was fun.
Yeah, we met up right before our sync this morning just to prep a little bit, and I acknowledged that this really is flexing these muscles and getting used to talking about what we're up to. It was really fun. It was cool to get back in the swing of things and talking about what we were doing. And because I think it's really easy to like work on your own projects by yourself and, write your code and not have to explain it to anybody. But when I'm working with Marcos, it was like, okay, we're talking everything through and we're making sure we're on the same page and taking turns sharing screen, taking turns like exploring documentation and teaching each other and learning from each other. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it.
All right, nice. I know it's a small issue, but I'd like to ask this question. Was there anything particularly challenging or, difficult about this? If so, how did you all work through it?
I think there was a small hurdle in the beginning. There was manage list in different spaces between GitHub and then the repo itself, and then in the issue, there was an inconsistency with manage list and add list. So
Mhm.
we kind of had to, it like wasn't a big deal. The simple solution was just looking through the different components, and we noticed that there was a manage list component. So we went with that. It was when we were trying to navigate manage list, like we couldn't figure out what page we needed to go to, so we were kind of trying a few different things, and manage
Mhm.
dash list is what worked. But besides that,
Yep,
I think
yep,
that was the
that's
only thing.
yeah, I
I think we have
agree.
I think we have too many things named list or some type of list in this whole project. But I think that was because since we added like authentication and the ability to track multiple lists, some of the naming was just like, okay, something list, you know. All right. Emma, do you think you'd be able to present without Sarah? Yeah.
Yeah, let me give it a try.
Take your time,
Okay,
no pressure.
I'm gonna share my entire screen. So Sarah and I were working on this issue on Tuesday. After I think the first thing we did is to try and understand our tasks. So by reading, and also we really appreciate how detailed and understandable this issue description is. So we were able to understand there are two functions we need to implement. The first one is in the home file. It's basically, we can imagine that is displaying the list name that the user subscribe to. And in another file, list.jsx is to list out the name of the item. So there are two things we need to loop over. Like there are two arrays we need to loop over. And then we'll go over to the code. We figure that definitely we need to use the map method to loop over an array. And then actually inside of the home.jsx, the thing that we are looping over, which is a component. So we are looping over each component. And there are a few things we need to consider. First is what are the props we need to display. So here we have data, that is the array we need to loop over, and then we have prop of set list path and then path. When we first solved this problem, we were very confused about the path because I was thinking about maybe it's dynamic, but at this point we don't know what is the ID is. And there are a lot of things because we were not able to came up with the idea of maybe have a demo list to go over. But then after giving the recommendations, Sarah was able to implement the UUID method. That can be the key of each component we are looping over. And then the path just be the props we're getting from the parent component. So that is how we resolve the first part, the home JSX. And for the list item, which is to display each item within that list. So that is also we need the help from list item component and then using their name to be able to display the name of the atom. So for those two small tasks, the main thing we were using is to looping over the array and also need to keep in mind of for looping over the array in React, we need to pay attention to the key because that is how they differentiate which component they are changing. They need to update. So that is the two tasks we were working on. Any suggestion, component, comments?
Were you able to get it to work? Could you show us it in your browser if you have it up and running?
I haven't up and running yet.
Yeah.
I probably can do it right now. I'm gonna share my screen here. So I will go straight to the list. I haven't been able to render anything yet. Probably because I don't have a list. I don't have a shopping list.
So there should be a test list. It did take me I did have to update the code from your branch and I got it to work. So it does show the 3 test items that you have.
Oh,
So I'm not sure that that's from the latest code that Sarah had pushed.
You know what? It's possible. So we used Emma's ID as the list, and so she doesn't actually have a shared list.
So she had 2 email accounts originally, and I think I had used the ID from the first one or the inactive email address. But she does have a shared list.
Really? Okay.
So I think the only other thing I would have had to be done was to add the actual path. So we're gonna hard code that path to that list for now, till we start creating our own lists.
Oh, you were right. You are totally right. And it is set up correctly. Huh.
Emma, could you jump back to your VS Code? I can't see a code. I think you just shared us one window.
Okay, I'm gonna share one more time.
So if you go to app.jsx, Just pull up on my side real quick. Okay.
I'm gonna pull down the latest too and just see if
Yeah,
is
but
that
you have to be logged in for it to work.
Okay.
And let's see. Okay, so in app.jsx, you should see use state with storage hook. So it should be around line 18. So instead of null, it should be the list path that we have. And you get that from Firefox. Let me just paste that into the chat for you.
You shouldn't have to use that.
No, you got it without?
I got it working without that.
Oh, well then it should be.
That's why I'm kind of confused too. I was like, I definitely did that. I pulled this down and got it working.
Okay, yeah, it does work without it.
Yeah, because what that does is, I mean, that's setting it because we don't necessarily want it to be, if we were to deploy that to users, we want it to be null. We don't want them to have access to our like base shopping list, right? So like that's just setting what that's doing is that's setting the local storage with the active list.
Oh, no, it does work.
Did you get it working locally with the latest?
Let's see. So change it back to null. And
From the home page, a single list. Yeah, I pull it up.
yeah,
I mean,
it does open, so it's fine. I don't know, maybe you have to sign out and sign back in.
yeah, try that. That's a good idea. When in doubt, turn it off and on again.
Yeah. No. So I just jump back up with the Chrome, Emma, and sign out and then sign back in.
Send out.
And then
Oh, sign in. Yeah. Well, you sign out. And I think we configure with the first one.
The
Yeah.
first. Okay.
Yeah. Should all have access.
and then go to the home page first. You might just do it in the URL. Yeah. I think it's without anything. Like it's just a no home. Without any delete list. Have it just
She's on the list.
there you go.
Okay, so there you see the test list.
And then
once now go to // list and it should pull up.
What?
But I don't have that. I don't have one.
Alison, Marcos, does it work on yours? Does it show up on your end?
I haven't pulled yet, but I can try if that would be helpful.
I'm not seeing it on my end, actually.
It's not merged into main yet. Hey, Emma, could you take a look at the dev tools? If you do, gosh, I do it by, yeah, there you go. And take a look at, we want to go to, oh gosh, is it application, I think, where local storage is. Right
Applications.
here.
Oh, here.
And then local storage.
I don't have anything.
Can you go back to where you just were? Okay, and then click on the little the arrow.
Oh.
And then click on this. Interesting. So it's not getting into local storage even when she clicked on the button.
Yeah.
Because you should see that little
test list or
what's it called? TCL 76 something, I think. That one.
Is it this?
I think so.
Yeah, it's just TCL shopping list path.
Yeah, I think that's all I have in my local storage.
Hmm. Maybe we should do. My instinct is we should troubleshoot this offline because that's what I would do in
Yeah,
my actual job.
yeah.
You have
Test list was new. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
interesting.
right. I think it works. It may just be like a difference in code.
Mm.
Um,
And should I leave it null here, or do I actually
yeah,
have
it works with null. It's fine
okay.
as is. Yeah. All right. Well, we know it works, so
Okay.
we could troubleshoot it.
Thank you for helping me to go over
Yeah.
debugging a little bit.
I, I
Yeah.
know there were multiple tricky things in this one. Well, what do you think was the most challenging part of this one?
I think it was understanding the structure, like it's nested component inside a component while rendering another component. So understanding that part is I think it's the first step. It's quite essential. And then to also take a look at other component we need to render and knowing what are the props is very important.
Yeah.
And also team collaboration. I need to mention
Yeah.
it. Yes.
Yeah, we all able to do like pairing like how we had shown demo or some version of it.
Yeah, we were able to, I did the home and Sarah did the list item. Yeah, we were able to split the task.
Yeah, nice. Right. I don't think we have the learning module discussion just yet because you'll have to. So you'll do the learning module at office hours.
Yep. And we
Yeah.
have retro for this week.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we could go on to this week's issues.
Retro first.
Oh, is it retro? The retro is the following week.
Not according to the project brief, unless I'm reading it wrong.
I have this as week 2. So we have week 1 was the mentor pairing. Um, yeah, I think some of it is a bit out of sync. I don't know. Because then the Notion has the retro at week 3. Actually, no, it's week 2.
I think the Notion has the retro at week 2.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it list on my list of things.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's out of order. Yeah, that's why. All right. Yeah.
All right. I can walk through the retro stuff here.
Yep.
So, and let me get you y'all a link for this. Have any of y'all done a retro before? Or is it brand new? Kinda. I got a kinda and nose. Okay. Once I find there it is. Chat. So retros are great. I really like them. They give the team an opportunity to kind of connect, I feel like, on a human level. It's something that I've really experienced a lot. You're often working, getting stuff done, like just task after task, and you'll feel like you'll feel really appreciative of people. Sometimes you'll feel kind of annoyed that something isn't working well. And it gives you like a little bit of an outlet of a way to both share that frustration or share that appreciation, um, which, sharing frustrations allows you to work together to find a solution for it. And when you have an appreciation, like being able to vocalize that really helps. It helps build those relationships and build that rapport with your teammates. Like uh, I seriously, every time I go out of a retro, I'm like, "Ah, so glad we did that. So glad we had that discussion." Like I just always feel like it adds some grease to the wheels, right, of your team and make sure that things keep running. Um, So basic idea of it is that you take some time. Everybody does this well, you can do it synchronously or asynchronously, but we're going to do it synchronously here. And you'll add items to each of these different columns, right? So feel free to like shout out specific people like, hey, I really love that Allison did this, this, and this, right? Be able to name those people and what they did and what was impactful to you. And then we'll add them to these 3 columns here, the appreciations, what went well and what could be improved. And then we'll have a discussion around them and maybe create some action items here at the end to make changes in how our team is working together. What questions do y'all have on the process right now? All right, so I think what we'll start with maybe just a, I don't know, 5-minute timer and see for the next 5 minutes, go ahead and just start adding stuff here. You can add it by clicking on add item down at the bottom. And you can start typing here. Great thing. And that'll get you a draft that you can like edit and stuff like that too, a little bit more easily, I think. There we go. You can like click it open and add other stuff if you'd like. Although I think I might recommend actually just sticking with the title because you probably can't see the rest of it. But maybe as we're talking about it, if something comes up, we can add to the description. So, yeah, how's that sound? Good. All right. I'm gonna set a 5-minute timer and go ahead and start adding your items. All right, that's about 5. Does anybody need more time?
No.
Mm, mm, okay, great. Let's see here. I will just take some time to start reading out some of the appreciations, I think. And we'll go from there. So I want to start off thanks to the whole team on your flexibility around office hours this week. I appreciate that. Devin said, thanks to me for figuring out our Firebase issue with the test list. Yay, hopefully we got it figured out. Allison said, I appreciated Marcos's determination to write efficient code to build a clean user experience. Yeah, very nice. And then Marcos said, I think Allison did a great job communicating to me when we could start working on the issue and knock things out as soon as possible. I love that. I love hearing about communication. That's awesome. And then Emma said, I appreciate how structured this project is and the dedication of the mentors. Oh, thanks. I also appreciate Sarah's initiative in scheduling the meeting and helping with setting up the UUID. Excellent. Some things that went well. Devin said that seeing the team getting an early start on the week's issue and pairing issues and pairing to come up with the solutions. I said, first week done. Yes, huzzah. Let's see here. Allison said that pair programming was good. It went easy taking turns coding and reading documentation and providing support. Awesome. Love pair programming. Marco said that Allison and I's pair programming session went very well. We learned different things from each other's experience in coding. Yeah, that's part of why I love pair programming. It's great. Awesome. And the demos, y'all did great. Like Alice and Marcos, I could tell that y'all started or like practiced beforehand. You knew exactly what to say and where and how to present it. Like, well done on that. And Emma, thank you for stepping up and doing it on your own. That's always a little bit nerve-wracking when you haven't planned for that. So thank you for doing that. And then collaborating with Sarah on pair programming from Emma. That's awesome. Okay, and so we have some things from what could be improved as well. So the Firebase misconfigurations led to some delay. I think that's the same one as Devin saying there are still some kinks in our internal setup, and I think there still is. Maybe I'm not sure actually. We'll figure that out. We'll work with Emma and Sarah on getting that merged in here soon. Allison says, still getting in the swing of the routine and getting my head on straight, gathering materials, making sure I show up to syncs prepared, setting expectations, etc. Natural growing pains, first week things. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Is there anything more that you want to share on that, Allison?
No, I just like taking the opportunity to share personal notes in like sessions like this. It's
Yeah.
like I think it helps me also process like, oh, I'm like just getting in the swing of things. It's no biggie.
Yeah, for sure. I also love that the idea of stepping in and kind of being a little bit more like authentic to being visually and verbally authentic. I feel like helps everybody in the room be a little bit more authentic. So I find a lot of value in that as well. It's awesome. And then ensuring there are no typos in the issue description that could lead to potential bugs. Was that something that we had this time?
It was just the issue where the naming convention was a little different from what we saw. It wasn't managed list. It was like add item. And
Got
so,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
just that little thing.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. Okay. And then try it out with some test data. What was that one about? Could somebody extrapolate?
I didn't leave my name. That's me. That's from me.
Cool. And that, do you mean just like, what do you mean by that? Actually, I won't even put words in your mouth. What do you
It just we don't have anything listed out. Maybe we can just put some dummy data and see if the map work as it should be. Um, so that was my thought because we didn't were able to actually see anything from the UI. So if we just have something console logged, that could prove that the map was working as it's supposed to be.
Mm. Like finding a good workaround potentially. I could see that. Yeah. All right. I'm kind of I will say I'm rushing through it a little bit. I think usually with retros, I like to give people an opportunity to speak to a lot of their tickets, but I'm like, well, the sake of time, we do have issues left to talk through, so I want to make sure that we get through it. But are there, out of any of the what went well or what could be improved, should we add some action items? How is there something that we want to change as a team to either change or continue doing as a team to make our systems better?
I think for me, it's kind of too soon to tell.
Okay.
I added mind check Slack more consistently. That was just another personal thing. I feel like I want to make sure that I'm seeing not only seeing messages from y'all, but also I think even just checking our feed channel, like seeing like the activity in the GitHub log, that I think is such a cool feature, and I want to like stay ahead so that I don't get behind, you know what I mean? So I think that was I'm really glad that you implemented that, Mindy. I think that was a really good idea to keep that in a separate space. Um, yeah, just like staying on top of my communication game from the jump.
I like this. That's funny. I think you might be right on something that is maybe a little too early to really do too much. I do want to speak to Devin's comment here. Do you want to extrapolate?
Yeah, I did start looking at this code a bit later on in the week. I usually try to get in on, like around Wednesday and start checking things out. It ended up being more like Friday. So, granted, this week's issues were fairly small, but in the coming weeks, because the issues will be bigger, it would just be good to keep an eye on the flow of things. If things are going slightly off course, at least we could jump in and advise or give some meaningful feedback or meaningful comments on the issues or pull requests as they come through.
I can plus one to that because I think
Yeah.
I feel the same. I came in late last night, which I'm like, that this was too late. Not terribly helpful on my part. So yeah, definitely +1 on that one. Um, Great. I think something to keep in mind as over the next 2 weeks. So next week we'll have a learning module, and then we'll have another one of these retros. So maybe keep in mind, or if you have some notes, I will tell you I forget things insanely quickly when I'm like, especially kudos, which I feel terrible about. If I do not write kudos down in the moment, I will not remember them. So if you're at all like me, if you notice something like really great that someone else on the team is doing, like feel free to write a note to yourself. I use the DM to myself in Slack constantly. Like that's how I keep track of anything. So I will always just like DM myself of, oh, I need to do a kudos for this particular person. So yeah, just keep those kind of things in mind here as we go. In the last 13 minutes, thank you all for doing this. Oh, and I actually should mention too, retros are kind of an aspect of kind of the formalized. So yeah, I don't know if I actually want to get into this too much. But another reason that why we prioritize retros and TCL is that it gives y'all experience doing something that's considered agile. So I don't know how much, like, agile is a very big concept, a very big topic with a lot of different opinions on it. But it is one of those things that you can put onto your resume of I have experience doing agile things, right? So just kind of a plug in that. Just want to make sure y'all are aware. All right, let's talk about some issues. I'm just changing a couple things on my screen here before I get started sharing. So one moment though. One moment. There we go. All right, so week 2, Sarah and Marcos are paired for issue number 4, and Emma and Allison are paired for issue number 5. And again, if there is some desire to switch those amongst teams, feel free to communicate that and organize that as you'd like. So as a user, I want to set up a new shopping list so I can start tracking purchased items. The main idea here is that we want to be able to enter a new name for a new shopping list and create that list with that name. And we're talking about some semantic label element here for accessibility. Make sure that that's using that. We want to be able to both submit the form with your mouse doing a click and also be able to just press enter and have that list added. And then once the form is submitted, we do want to be able to see a message that it was either created or not. If there was some sort of issue with it, we want to be able to know that as well. So that's kind of the general picture, the UI related task, what you should see. As far as data goes, you should be able to get into, have y'all been inside Firebase yet? Yes, no?
Kind of, a little bit, not a lot.
Okay. So logging into it, you'll see this little go to console. Like when you go to firebase.google.com, click on go to console. And the database itself lives under this build section. You go to the Firestore database. So the lists themselves are associated with a user ID. So this user ID has a collection of lists. So you should see your own user ID. So Marcos, if you create one, your user ID is this one. You should be able to see a collection with your user ID that's creating new lists. So that's kind of the difference there. Back to 4. And it talks you through like a little bit of how to do that functionally, because there are some pieces within the code already that you'll want to connect to. And then, yeah, we did talk a little bit about how that sets the local storage. And so you should see that in your local storage as well. And then, yeah, you're redirected to the list view after that has been created and saved. Are there any questions on this before we move on to the next one? I should say, what questions are there?
So just so I'm understanding, we need to be able to create different lists, not different items for the list.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. Give it one more awkward pause. For any other questions? All right. The next one, number 5 here. Let's see here. So as a user, I want to add a new item to my shopping list so I can start recording purchases. So this is the other side of that. Be able to add the items themselves. So a couple UI things that need to change. That manage list view should have a form that allows them to enter the name of the item and then select how soon they anticipate needing to buy it again. So there should be 3 choices for that. Soon, kind of soon, not soon. However you would like to organize that in the UI. You can choose a couple different varieties. Then you can, again, there's that input that has that semantic label associated with it. You can, again, submit it with both the mouse and the enter key. And then once you do submit that form, you should see that success or not success as well. So right now, there is apparently a console log function in the add item function that's already built out for you. You should replace that with a function that actually adds the document to the Firestore database. So back to our database, our test list here does have a collection of items, and each of those items, except for the first one evidently, has a name associated with it. So this is what actually, when this is working, you'll see the list of chicken, batteries, and bananas. So that's the items within the content itself. So those now, as you're adding them in the form, it should go ahead and add to the Firebase as well, the Firestore. And then there is a function called next purchased date. So the idea with the smart shopping list is that it starts to kind of like learn, right? Learn how frequently you purchase something and then kind of prompt you to purchase that thing again at the right time. So this soon, kind of soon, not soon, it primes the system for understanding how frequently it is that you buy something. And then this next purchased date calculation will start to update the like next how many or the date that you expect to buy it. It will update that in the or you'll use that to update the Firestore Firebase with that next date. So you should see when you first add something, there should be something that tracks how many days or the date that you expect to purchase it. So any questions there? What questions do you have there? Definitely do take a close look at the summary and the notes here before you actually start working on it too, just to make sure that you get all of the information. All right. Let's see here. Is there anything else? Let's see. Let's talk about what else is here. We do have office hours. Oh, Devin and Nathan and I were talking about potentially just since last week's office hours just kind of got moved into this week. We might just go ahead and push so we only have one office hours a week. We can change. So this on Monday, I'll go through code review still. And then we'll just push this down to the next office hours. So it's not because this one was a free form office hours. We'll just push that learning module down to the week after, if that is cool with folks. Yeah, okay, great. I'll make the change here on the project brief so that way if this maintains our source of truth aspect a little bit. Yeah, I'll see whoever's able to make it. I'll see y'all on Monday. Tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday. How do y'all feel? Excited? Ready to go?
Yeah, excited, definitely.
Awesome. Any last closing marks, Devin?
No, so these issues are much bigger and more detailed than the previous week. So just like last week, we will have the threads set up for those issues. So just, keep the communication open, ask questions if you're not sure, tag us if you need any advice. Yeah, and go get them.
Awesome.
I had a question, two questions actually. Have all of the both pull requests from this week been merged?
That is a good question. We should do some
Well, yours has. I was just waiting for the second one from Sarah and Emma, but I think we could merge that in now, so it should be good to
Yeah.
go. Or did you want to recheck one?
Let me recheck one more time and I'll do
Yeah.
a quick async thing on it because it might have stopped working for me.
Okay.
So let me take a look at that just for I'll spend the next like 15-20 minutes tops.
All right. So maybe by the end of the day it should be merging.
Hopefully, yeah. Emma, I could just let you know. Do you have if there is a change that needs to be made?
I don't think we have any at this point. Yeah. Change need to be made.
Well, if it is broken, if there is something that needs to be like if it's not working for me also, there might be a change that needs to be made. How do we want to handle that? Let's see. Because we do want to get it merged in before the end of the day. I don't know if Emma and Sarah maybe would have time to make the change and get it merged in.
Yeah, so Sarah she just came online.
Oh, did she?
Um,
I know.
um, I mean, I could be around just for a bit as well. If you just want to review and test it one more time, maybe Emma just pull the most recent code and see if that helps.
Mhm.
And based on that, then we could merge it in. I don't think there should be, because the code technically looks correct.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of the functionality. Yeah.
well, I'm gonna poke. Well,
Yeah. So we don't block anyone.
yeah, I don't want to block y'all from continuing on work for sure.
Yeah, I was mainly there's no real rush on my end. I was just curious when the best time to do a pull down would be. But yeah, I guess, yeah,
Well,
no rush.
we can notify you, but I think you should also see something in the feed channel when it does get merged in.
True. Okay.
All right. Good luck, everyone. See you all in Slack.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Have a good week.
Thanks. Have a good one.
See ya.